Giambra's hands, the leftovers are very good here. Obs on Charm, Dem Protector.
So you're saying there's a chance? No, I don't think you are.
So far, still accurate on my prediction here that Dylan was not going to get in any more damage. Has not happened yet.
That's actually true. And that was on turn. That was on turn 2. You said.
Yeah, he got him one good right hook. You know, he got the hammer hand on the Fire Trick Crusader.
Rocked him a little bit.
That was 5 damage, but Giambra's really settled in since then.
Yeah. There's a wild slash on the morph.
Oh, spoke too soon.
It's not quite over.
Murphy might be getting him down to 23.
I think we might have Jamoka's command, actually. All right, he's going to un-Megamorph. Den Protector. Well, a lot of good choices there. Going to go with Siege Rhino, though.
Yeah, any 4 of them, any of the cards in the graveyard are good.
Yeah.
Can't misclick on that one. I think I like getting the Rhino the best. I think Hangerback Walker is also defensible. None of this really matters.
It is kind of one-sided.
Yeah.
Windswept Heath will be sacrificed.
I think besides Obs on Charm, the last card that was left in Josh's hand was Dramoka's Command.
There is one of those, yeah.
Pairs very nicely with 6-mana and the Siege Rhino.
Pairs very nicely with Josh's entire deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in the
A lot
matchup.
of good routes here.
Yeah. Here comes the Thopter token from Hangerback Walker. Murphy going to fall to 8. There's Siege Rhino. Murphy going to fall to 5. When Abzan is dominating, it is dominant.
Especially in this kind of matchup, the red decks just don't have the catch-up. You need to get on top of them fast and punish them for playing only 1 spell a turn. Dylan wasn't ever really able to do this.
There's a Wild Slash on Siege Rhino and a Lightning Strike. And these are the kind of exchanges that red decks, oh God, cannot make, especially when Jamoka's Command becomes involved as well.
Yeah, so you can prevent the damage and fight. And yeah,
that'll be lethal. That'll be lethal. Josh Giambra going to win game number 1 here over Dylan Murphy. Bit of a bloodbath there as Obs on Aggro does win game number 1 over Mono Red Aggro, which means I'm going to look at Dylan's sideboard, and I'm going to go looking for some roast here. Now, 2 Magma Sprays, 1 Molten Vortex, 1 Outpost Siege, 1 Chandra Power Master, 3 Scab Clan Berserker, a Heel Cutter, a Harness by Force, a Smash Smithereens, and thankfully for Dylan, 4 roasts.
So the roasts are good in this matchup. I like the 1 copy of Harness by Force. I like the 1 copy of Goblin Rabble Master. And if the Magma Sprays are in the sideboard, here's the thing. Magma Spray is very good against Hangerback Walker. It is pretty poor against the rest of Giambra's deck. It's the type of card where I could see Dylan saying, on the play, I can just power through this thing, be faster than it. But on the draw, I need to have some good, reliable answers to Hangerback Walker. Interesting to see how Murphy wants to play this.
On the other side of things for Giambra, who coasted easily for that game win, does he have anything else for red?
Not a lot going on here in the sideboard. 2 Thoughtseize, 2 Duress, 3 Herald of Torment, 2 Tragic Arrogance, 2 Self-Inflicted Wound, 2 Glare of Heresy, 2 Ultimate Price. Really only copies of Ultimate Price and Duress stand out to me as cards that he wants in this matchup. He's got 4 copies of Obs on Charm. That feels like an easy swap.
Well, these players will shuffle up here for game number 2. Dylan Murphy will be on the play with this mono red deck. A good place to be with red, of course. We'll talk about Grand Prix Atlanta. The details were unveiled for this yesterday at StarCityGames.com. You can go to StarCityGames.com/GP Atlanta for more information on what looks to be one heck of a tournament.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. It'll be Battle of Zendikar sealed. We have a commander focus. We're going to have a lot of guests out there like Sheldon Menery, MJ Scott, a lot of artists, cosplayers, and members of the commander community will be available. Various autograph sessions. You'll have opportunities to talk to them. And of course, there'll be a 3-day Grand Prix.
And we can't forget about our guest of honor, John Avon, as well. Will be there to sign cards and chat with November 13th through the 15th. StarCityGames.com/GP Atlanta, #GP Atlanta as well. We're expecting one heck of a turnout for this event. We're looking forward to seeing each and every single one of you there November 13th through the 15th.
We'll be there.
Absolutely, we will be.
Hanging out.
Commentating on the show and doing a meet and greet on Friday.
Or as I like to call it, a meet.
Just a meet.
Because I may or may not greet.
Oh, okay.
And there's also no obligation for you to greet me.
So just a meet.
If you want it to be that, we can just meet.
What if they wanted to be a greet as well?
You got to initiate, but we can.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, for me, it's a meet and greet. For Patrick, it's just a meet.
It's a meet.
And or greet. Potentially.
I don't want to encumber anyone with a social interaction they're not really looking for. You just want to get your token signed or just sort of hover around for a little while. I don't want to pressure you into thinking that you have to talk. It's just fine.
What a nice guy you are.
You make the experience whatever it is that you want to make it.
I got to tell you, you're just such a nice guy.
Yeah. You think it's coming from some misanthropic place, some introverted place? No. Just want people to make the experience whatever they want to make it.
So if you want to greet, cool.
And if
you
not,
that's cool too.
possibly even cooler.
For me, you have to meet and greet.
Right.
You get no choice.
You're a source of energy,
I'm here to greet.
a man of the people.
Mono Red Aggro off to a 7-0 start here for Dylan Murphy. Have not seen very much of this weekend. And really outside of the Pro Tour, this deck has not had much success.
Well, there was a bleak period there right after the Pro Tour where the Obzon decks ratcheted up their hate. The blue-red Thopter deck, I don't think was a great matchup. I played the mono-red deck at Grand Prix San Diego. I had to put a bunch of Smash the Smithereens on my sideboard to make that matchup feel okay. The metagame's kind of in a different place right now. It's a little bit slower. People are playing with some clunkier removal spells to try to answer Hangerback Walker, and so mono-red, I think, is better now than it was a couple weeks ago, certainly. I don't think it would be my first choice to play in a tournament right now, but compared to, let's say, Grand Prix San Diego, for example, I think it's a better choice.
Fair enough. Well, Dylan Murphy will be on the play here. He's off to a great start this weekend, though that last game was fairly ugly. We'll see if these roasts and some other sideboard cards can help him out.
Being on the play as well, a big deal.
Absolutely. Fire Drinker Satyr and friends. Red always wants to be on the play. That's just how this deck works.
Especially against Hangerback Walker. It's really important to be on the play against that card. Because when you're on the play, you can often get into a spot where they played on turn 2 and they just have to block. And it trades with one creature and a removal spell. Maybe the creature, maybe that was their only one-toughness creature, and then the 1/1 Thopter isn't worth very much. You know, you can get it like that. When they're on the play, then sometimes they're activating it, or they're killing your 2-toughness threat and leaving the Hangerback Walker left over, and it's a lot harder to manage. So big deal here for Dylan to be on the play.
Well, Dylan has kept his opening hand, and Josh looking for a new hand going down to 6. See if he can find a better one. Looks like he's happy enough. Murphy will begin with a mountain, and he does have a 1-drop in Monastery Swiftspear. Into the red zone it comes. Giambra coming to fall down to 19. Important to start off with a 1-drop.
And not only just to start off with a 1-drop, but also to start off with something with 2 toughness. Take a little bit of this thing out of Hangerback Walker. Now, if you can kill the Hangerback Walker, you have a 1/1 Thopter in play, and it's not necessarily that bad for you.
A mountain. It looks like Swiftspear might be the only threat. So Lightning Strike's going to go upstairs. Trigger Prowess, get a bunch of damage in this turn.
And I like this play for Murphy. He can't hold on forever in this kind of matchup, so I don't think he can afford to leave any points on the table. He gets 1 point off the Prowess trigger. You don't like the Lightning Strike there on turn 2. You'd rather have another threat, but I prefer Murphy doing that than saying go.
And now Giambra's already down to 13. And it's his second turn of the game. There's a Plains. Is there a follow-up? There is. It's a Fleeceman Lion. Murphy will draw. Picked up a copy of Abbott. Here comes land number 3. Lightning Strike number 2 will take care of Fleeceman Lion number 1. Giambra will fall down to 11. There's a Windswept Heath. No black mana yet here for Josh, however. Another Fleeceman Lion. Pass the turn back. Murphy untapping. Murphy drawing. Picked up another mountain. Here's Abbott. Trigger. Swiftspear.
So that was among the worst cards for Murphy to hit in this spot. If he flips over a land, plays that for free and casts Rose. You flip over a removal spell, cast that, you got Rose left over in your hand. A 1-mana creature, you know, you don't want to give up the value of the Abbott, but you also don't want to just say go here. Puts Murphy in a tight spot.
Yeah, on this turn, I think that Dylan might just have to slow down. You don't want to miss out on this card Just play land and pass the turn back. You can definitely tell he's saving roast for a Siege Rhino.
Although now, the problem is, and why I think that Murphy needs to cast his roast in spots like that, is now Dramoka's command is really hard to beat.
Yep. I'm going to pass the turn back. Murphy will draw. Eidolon, not bad.
Although another card that is a lot worse in the face of Dramoka's command being a concern.
Yep. When you got a player over there missing land drops, I think you can be a little bit more patient. You also don't have to worry about Drowning Sorrow because there's no black mana over there.
Yep.
Now an Orb could come out of nowhere and really ruin your day, but
part of the reason that these Abzan aggro decks are built this way now is to de-emphasize the need for black mana. So it's not even a guarantee he has something like Drowning Sorrow on the sideboard. And in fact, he doesn't.
Here's an attempt at roast. There's a lot that can go wrong here. I believe Josh does have Dramoka's command.
So the max upside play here is prevent all the damage and fight Fleecemane Lion on Abbott. If Murphy has no spell to follow up with in response, it's a total blowout. The safer play is just to fight the Swift Spear.
Yeah, he's going to do prevent the damage and fight. Looks like it might be a copy of Magma Spray there. Yeah, it is. So now this Whisper gets to come over a bunch of damage.
Yeah, this is 6.
Yep. This is okay. No Eidolon to play this turn for Murphy, but Giambra's going to draw a Plains. He'll play that, but I think his hand might just be loaded with black cards. There's a Hero's Downfall and a Duress in hand. Yep, and all you can do is pass the turn back over to Murphy. Murphy will draw. We know he's got Eidolon. I think he may have picked up another copy of Eidolon. It could be the Eidolon Hardlock here. I like playing at least one, maybe both.
I think one does most of the work. The second one does. No, you should probably play both. Just locks out a lot of things.
I don't think there's too much that can go wrong. You have to take 2 to cast the other one, but outside of that, I don't think there's too much that can go wrong.
Yeah, the risk would be a 5-mana sweeper, but with one of Josh's lands being a windswept heath, that's hard to do. The risk there is end hostilities.
Sure. I don't think a card you're going to play around from red.
Exactly, and then your second Eidolon has to be good enough to beat his follow-up, which is no guarantee, so I just like playing the second one and lock him out of playing things like Drowned Sorrow, Dramoka's Command, and so forth.
Dylan Murphy does just that. He's going to win game number 2 here against Josh Giambra. Mono red, Abzan aggro, getting ready here for game number 3.
Now I'm interested to see if Murphy does something different. I think the Magma Sprays become a lot more attractive for him on the draw than they do on the play, as when he's on the draw, he's in more of a need for efficient answers to Hangerback Walker specifically.
These players will shuffle up here for game number 3. We'll see how things work out for Josh now that he's on the play. See if he can keep a 7-card hand as well as he goes back to the drawing board. Battle for Zendikar pre-release is what we'll talk about here with Star City Games happening September 26th and the 27th. You can pre-register today. Everyone who comes to that pre-release at the Star City Game Center will get this playmat.
The Battle for Zendikar playmat will be available for everyone who registers for the pre-release. This is at the Star City Games headquarters in Roanoke, Virginia, the physical store. Can't make it out there. This playmat will be available on the website Monday morning after the pre-release. So if you want to get this playmat, either head to Roanoke, Virginia, or make sure you're on the website first thing Monday morning to get an opportunity to get whatever playmats are left over.
StarCityGames.com/pre-release for more information about that as game number 3 of round number 8 about to take place. Keep in mind, at the conclusion of this round, we'll talk about those brand new enemy creature lands. Lumbering Falls, Shambling Vent. Very nice stuff. And creature lands are just awesome.
They are.
I'm always a big fan. I was wondering when they were going to do the enemy cycle of these. I'm super happy that it's here now. And I'm very curious to see what the other ones are going to look like too. That's one of the things that always leaves me excited with Magic is what are those enemy creature lands going to be?
That's part of the charm of doing cycles is that you can create anticipation for the next set.
Yep.
I remember during the original Ravnica, people were wanted to just see what the names of the new dual lands were going to be. Wanted to see what the new guild pages were going to be. Wanted to see, that's the value of doing cycles is you set up anticipation and suspense.
Sometimes you can never satisfy what people want, though.
It's true. Tough. Never going to make everyone happy. Also makes text boxes easier to learn and memorize when they're all part of the same cycle of cards.
Yep. So, of the 5 creature lands that were ally colored, Colonnade probably the best of the bunch.
Well, 3 of them are high tier 1 cards
Okay.
in Colonnade, Creeping Tar Pit, Raging Ravine.
Yep.
I would say the Stirring Wildwood is very good.
Yep.
And Lava Claw reaches probably the weakest of the 5, but black-red decks are probably in the market for that kind of effect more than other decks are.
Sure.
So Lava Claw reaches is weaker, but if you made all the creature lands have the same power level, the red-black one would probably show up the most often.
Maybe it's Raging Ravine just because of Jun's success across so many formats and over time.
I mean, those lands, I still think those lands are underrated in a historical sense. In a format like Modern, where people die on, you can die on the 2nd or 3rd turn. And turn 4 is pretty consistent with a lot of different decks. The cost of playing a land in play tapped is enormous, especially when you don't see the dividends for that land until turn 6 or 7, usually at the earliest. It says a lot about how good those lands are that they show up in a format as fast as Modern. Really impressive.
That is truly notable.
Even Creeping Tar Pit even shows up in Legacy.
Yeah, no, that one's, it shows up in the Sultai decks. That one's probably the most frustrating one to play against just because unblockable and it hits pretty hard.
Yeah, that card is, a lot of that has to do with Jason the Mind Sculptor's presence in the format, but even still, that card is showing up in a format where you can die on the 1st turn.
Both these players are going to take a mulligan here.
And Wasteland exists.
Yep.
And people are willing to play them as lands that come into play tapped. So I don't know if people have a real appreciation for just how good those lands are. And I would be really surprised if the next wave was in the same power. I think we're going to be looking much more at the Lava Claw reaches Stirring Wildwood level of power. I don't think we're going to see Colonnades and Raging Ravines and Creeping Tar Pits, is my best guess.
Well, I'm excited to find out what they're all going to be. Not all going to be released in Battle for Zendikar, going to come out in this set and Oath of the Gatewatch. So there's a little bit of a breakup of them, but there's always been that anticipation.
Listen, Daddy needs his Boros land too.
I predict, let's see, it's going to have,
Double strike.
I was thinking first strike.
First strike or double strike?
Yeah, first strike or double strike, but I'm deciding how big they would make it. It seems like probably 2 power, like a 3-1, or maybe a 2-3. A couple different ways they can go with it. But it's got to be aggressively costed. I feel like it's going to be an aggressive land, not a slow one, like Colonnade, which is 5 mana to activate.
Right.
Temple of Malady is where Giambra will start. Here's Lightning Berserker from Murphy. There's land 2, Fleece main line number 1 here for Josh. Murphy will draw. Found a mountain, did Josh. He does have a lightning strike in hand.
So you got a couple lines here. Safe play, Lightning Strike the Fleece main lion. The play with maximum upside, cast the Eidolon, except that you're conceding to Dromoka's command, but you're on the board and you still have a Lightning Strike to answer the Fleece main lion.
I like this play the most to start.
Oh, attack for 1. Yeah, attack for 1 is where you start, because you got 2 mountains in play. Giambra probably doesn't want you to use Fleece main lion for your Lightning Berserker. And if he does, that's okay.
I'm happy with that.
Don't mind that either.
1 damage will be dealt. All right.
Love
wow.
it. Love it.
There's a real risk associated with this.
If Giambra has Dromoka's command, we're probably done here. If he doesn't, though, this is a great spot.
Will Murphy get to untap with 2 creatures in the battlefield still?
And it's just so anemic for Murphy to use a Lightning Strike. Giambra at that point, well, if he untaps and plays Anafenza, now you can't kill that. You got a Lightning Strike in your hand, so I like Murphy going for broke here. Definitely looks bad if Giambra's got Dromoka's command, but he's in great position if he doesn't. And as I've mentioned before, you cannot win them all.
Well, Josh pretty deep in the tank here. I think he may have Dromoka's command in hand. He's just going to pass the turn back.
So I don't know if he's just hoping to get he's just trying to get the whole shebang here.
If he's trying to get the whole shebang, greedy.
Because now the problem is, what happens if Dylan says, land, creature, go with 2 mana up? Then your Dromoka's command is pretty awkward to use. You can't even if he just plays land, says go, you can't go sack an enchantment and fight the Lightning Berserker, or you can, but Dylan can then pump the Lightning Berserker. I think Giambra might have gotten himself into some trouble here. Never mind, this is great.
Well, I mean, he does get to get him pretty good here with this.
No, this ends up being great for Giambra. I think that if Murphy had played Swiftspear and said go,
yeah,
then things get a little awkward for Giambra. But if he's playing everything in right now, Giambra gets it all.
2 damage going to be dealt by the Eidolon for both players. Lightning Strike and Dromoka's Command trigger it. So on the Lightning Strike is countered by the Dromoka's Command, and Eidolon bites the dust. Giambra going to sacrifice the Windswept Teeth, go down to 16, search up a forest or plains.
But that Dromoka's Command traded with 4 mana, 2 cards, and 2 high-value cards in the matchup. So it was pretty great there.
Well, Dromoka's Command always good in this matchup.
Well, Giambra has to get something into play. That's
Yeah.
the risk with Dromoka's Command. Game 2 there, Murphy could keep him off of being able to do anything with Dromoka's Command. On the play, though, pretty hard to stop Giambra from being able to play a Fleecebane line or a Hangerback Walker or something.
See what Josh is brewing up now. Sorin. Okay. Pretty good turn.
Well, this is a little rough against a removal spell, because if Dylan can kill the Fleecebane Lion with a spell, that Swiftspear becomes a 2/3, and now Giambra has to either allow the Sorin to die or chump block with a Vampire. I suppose Giambra could have plus the Sorin, but a removal spell on the Fleecebane Lion kills Sorin the same way. At least this way Giambra gets a 2/2 flyer for his troubles.
Well, we'll see what's next for Mr. Murphy. Here come the beatdowns.
Like this attack here from Dylan. Like Lightning Berserker or Josh. Put Giambra in the squeeze here.
Yep. Always a good goal.
Sorin's a gunner or the Vampire's chump blocking. That's great. You trade your Lightning Berserker with the Vampire. Well, something like that's happening at some point.
Yeah, that's a good attack here. There's a pump. It looks like no block at all.
So the bad news here is Wingmate Rock. And a no blocks here might indicate that. Could indicate also Dromoka's Command and the need to keep something in play to fight.
The command might just be happening right now. So counter there and fight the Lightning Berserker. Pass the turn back. Murphy will draw. We know he's got an Abbot in hand. He'll start there. Take a look at the top card. It's a mountain. So he'll get to hit one of those. And all he can do is simply pass the turn back.
And Giambra may have turned the corner now.
Yep. That Abbot was very important. Needed to be able to do a little bit better in the land. And now there's a Den Protector face down. This is where it gets tough.
Giambra still with a lot of life to play with.
Yeah, 14 is quite a bit when playing against a red deck. And we're this deep into the game. And it looks like Murphy just has 2 lands in hand. And if that's the case, Den Protector, Sorin, Dromoka's Command, they get to take over this game. There's a mountain, pass the turn back. Den Protector will be unmegamorphed. It'll get a counter, of course. Looks like Dromoka's Command's going to be returned. And Giambra looking to move on to 8-0. Here come the attackers, feeling comfortable enough to get in the red zone now.
Yeah, Murphy needs to play something to be able to block the Den Protector, so pretty safe looking attack here.
There's a Siege Rhino. Don't know if there's any coming back from this one now. Looking real tough. And that is going to do it. Josh Giambra's going to win this match here over Dylan Murphy. 2 games to 1. Abzan Aggro will take care of Mono Red Aggro. And for Abzan Aggro, which we know is a very popular deck this weekend with or without Hangerback Walker, up to 8-0.